Hey guys, back again with a brand new video. I hope this video finds you well. Please do feel free to subscribe if you find that you did end up enjoying this content, as well as leave a like. Of course, I would encourage you to do that now, but let's just get through the video first, yes? Today we're going to be taking a look at another SCP, and this has been suggested by 2 of my subscribers, so thank you Amy, thank you Ashley for your suggestions. I really do appreciate that. If you feel as if you have something for me to take a look at, my comment section's been open. Like, please, it's been dry. Like, come on, please. Today we're going to be taking a look at another SCP video. This one is titled SCP-049 The Plague Doctor. And that's basically all that I have for my intro. Without further ado, or with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the video, shall we? The Doctor will see you now. Okay, it's Euclid, no physical
The following
contact.
data release has been authorized by the following council members and administration staff.
Okay.
Incident 049, 16th of April 2017.
We're already starting with an incident.
It has been
Oh,
estimated
geez.
the death of Dr. Ham was due to 2 primary factors. Dr. Ham did not activate the emergency alert system.
Why?
Agent negligence resulting in his failure to monitor the exchange via CCTV. Had Agent monitoring the exchange as his standard protocol, it is certain that security teams would have been able to successfully intervene before SCP-049 killed Dr. Ham. Evidence from this investigation has been submitted to the appropriate party to be used in Agent's court-martial hearing. Dr. Ham's next of kin have been informed.
Well, Agent, whatever his name was, he f***ed up bad. He f***ed up real bad. I don't know, maybe he wasn't watching the CCTV because maybe he spilled some coffee on his lap or something, or he was busy watching one of my YouTube videos on the side, or whatever this. Maybe he got into an altercation with another agent, whatever the situation might be. He f***ed up. He got killed. SCP-049 The Plague Doctor.
SCP-049 is a humanoid entity roughly 1.9 meters in height, which bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor.
For you guys that don't know what 1.9 meters is, let me do the quick conversion. It's 6.2 or 6.3 feet. Okay, so he's either 6'3 or 6'2. He's way taller than me. I'm just 5'9".
While SCP-049 appears to be wearing the thick robes and the ceramic mask indicative of that profession, the garments instead seem to have grown out of SCP-049's body over time and are now nearly indistinguishable from whatever form is beneath them.
Does he ever... Okay, so then since it grows out of him, does SCP-49 ever need to, like, bathe or stuff like that? What if he needs to, like, brush his teeth? Or what if he... I've done a little bit of research and this, what if SCP-49 manages somehow to get a little bit of pestilence, like, through the outer layer and, like, inside of his, like, uniform or whatever? What's gonna happen there? I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down here.
X-rays indicate that, despite this, SCP-049 does have a humanoid skeletal structure beneath its outer layer.
Okay.
SCP-049 is capable of speech in a variety of languages, though tends to prefer English or medieval French.
Alright, so what that tells me, sorry for pausing, I'm pausing quite a bit here, but what that tells me is that either SCP-49 is resided in Europe or somewhere in Canada, because you know Canada's history, the settlers from Europe came to Canada, Canada was New France for a while and all that other history, yes? So he's either he was founded in Europe or founded somewhere in Canada.
While SCP-049 is generally cordial and cooperative with Foundation staff, it can become especially irritated or at times outright aggressive if it feels that it is in the presence of what it calls the Pestilence.
Okay, anger issues.
Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern to SCP-049. SCP-049 will become hostile with individuals it sees as being affected by the pestilence.
This sounds like, in modern times, not in modern times, this sounds like COVID. Because people do get, you know, other people do be getting hostile when somebody has, you know, this sounds a lot like, and I don't blame him. I would low-key, high-key start to get hostile in the presence of somebody that has, like, I'm not trying to catch that. Like, are you trying to catch that? Didn't think so.
Often having to be restrained should it encounter such. If left unchecked, SCP-049 will generally attempt to kill any
Whoa,
such
whoa,
individual.
whoa, whoa, whoa!
SCP-049 is capable of causing all biological functions of an organism to cease through direct skin contact.
That's OP.
How this occurs is currently unknown, and all autopsies of SCP-049's victims have invariably been inconclusive.
This guy is strong.
SCP-049 has expressed frustration or remorse after these killings, indicating that they have done little to kill the pestilence. They will usually seek to then perform a crude surgery on the corpse using the implements contained within a black doctor's bag it carries on its person at all times.
Alright.
While these surgeries are not always successful, they often result in the creation of instances of SCP-049-2. SCP-049-2 instances are reanimated corpses that have been operated on by SCP-049.
I'm assuming that this is what one of the doctor's, the result of one of the doctor's experiments looked like. This is it right here. This is what's going on right now. We find somebody with he starts getting hostile, like be like he wasn't doing enough to get rid of the or to protect himself from he wasn't going outside with his mask on, so he's dead now. And this is what happens. Okay.
These instances do not seem to retain any of their prior memories or mental functions, having only basic motor skills and response mechanisms. While these instances are generally inactive, moving very little and in a generally ambulatory fashion, they can become extremely aggressive if provoked, or if directed to by SCP-049.
Okay, interesting.
SCP-049-2 instances express active biological functions, though these are vastly different from currently understood human physiology. Despite these alterations, SCP-049 often remarks that the subjects have been cured.
This is cured? All of this?
Special containment procedures.
I don't think so.
SCP-049 is contained within a standard secure humanoid containment cell in Research Sector 02 at Site-19. SCP-049 must be sedated before any attempts to transport it.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. SCP-49 has a little bit of drip going on right here. I needed to mention that. I'm just gonna bring that up really briefly. He's got a little bit of drip. He's got a little bit of drip.
During transport, SCP-049 must be secured within a Class 3 humanoid restriction harness, including a locking collar and extension restraints,
All that?
and monitored by no fewer than 2 armed guards.
I mean, like, if we're gonna... He's classified as Euclid. I mean, this... Okay, let me listen on a little bit.
While SCP-049 is generally cooperative with most Foundation personnel, outbursts or sudden changes in behaviour are to be met with elevated force.
Right, his anger issues.
Under no circumstances should any personnel come into direct contact with SCP-049 during these outbursts. In the event SCP-049 becomes aggressive, the application of lavender has been shown to produce a calming effect on the entity.
Lavender is one of my favorite scents, by the way, so, you know, I could relate with this guy a little bit. Yes?
Once calmed, SCP-049 generally becomes compliant and will return to containment with little resistance.
I mean, so, like, as I was about to say before, it doesn't... I mean, like, he does have a little bit of anger issues, and, you know, like, people with he doesn't like that. I mean, I could understand him. Nobody likes that. So... I mean, like, from what I've been, like, listening to, it doesn't feel like he needs all of that type of restriction. Like, I don't feel as if he's gonna just go around and start touching everybody. You know, that's some, what if you get some pestilence on him? But that could just be me, though. That could just be me.
In order to facilitate the ongoing containment of SCP-049, the entity is to be provided with the corpse of a recently deceased animal, typically a bovine or other large mammal, once every 2 weeks for study.
Okay.
Corpses that become instances of SCP-049-2 are to be removed from SCP-049's containment cell and incinerated. SCP-049 is no longer permitted to interact with human subjects, and requests for human subjects are to be denied.
I think this is because of Mr.
Temporary
Ham.
Containment Procedure Update. Per Containment Committee Order 049 Sierra 1917-1, SCP-049 is no longer permitted to interact directly with any members of Foundation staff, nor is it to be provided with any additional corpses to be used in its surgeries.
So he's basically on a massive timeout right now. He's on the biggest timeout ever.
This order shall persist indefinitely, until such time a consensus regarding the ongoing containment of SCP-049 can be reached.
Damn, all that.
Addendum 049-1 Discovery. SCP-049 was discovered during the investigation of a series of unknown disappearances in the town in southern France.
So I was right. I was correct in my assumption. I said either this, based on everything this guy's based on everything this guy appears to be ancient. So given that context, he's either like residing somewhere in Canada back then, you know, with like the New France and, you know, the Canadian history and whatnot, or he's residing somewhere in Europe, southern France. I was correct.
During a raid on a local home, investigators found several instances of SCP-049-2 as well as SCP-049. While law enforcement personnel engaged the hostile 049-2 instances, SCP-049 was noted as watching the engagement and taking notes in its journal. After all of the 049-2 instances were dispatched, SCP-049 willingly entered Foundation custody. The following interview was conducted by Dr. Raymond Ham during the initial investigation. Interviewer Dr. Raymond Ham of Site-85, interviewee SCP-049.
Alright, let's see.
Alors, comment devrions-nous commencer une introduction?
Ooh, that was I haven't heard. Well, I mean, I live in Quebec, in Canada, so down here we have to speak French more or less. I'm very, very bad at French, but I do speak a little French. Let me go back a little bit. Let me hear that.
Alors, comment devrions-nous commencer une introduction?
You see, with that, I could understand French, but I can't speak French. I was able to understand just from a few words what he was talking about here. Good stuff, yes?
Is that French?
It is French.
Can we get a translator?
The King's English. No need for translation, sir. I can speak it well enough.
Very well.
Good. My name is Dr. Raymond Ham, and I...
A doctor.
Indeed he is.
A like-minded individual, no doubt. Wherein is your speciality, sir?
Cryptobiology. Why?
What's cryptobiology? Hold on. Let me take a look at that. Cryptobiology. There we go. Cryptobiology is the study of cryptids, creatures around which myths exist but whose current existence have never been verified. Some famous cryptids include Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and the Chupacabra. Cryptobiology is the study of cryptids. Okay, I see. Alright.
A medical man, such as myself.
Yes.
Wonders abound. And here, I worried I had been abducted by common street thugs. This place, then, this is your laboratory. I had wondered, as clean as it is, and with such little trace of the pestilence here.
The pestilence? What do you mean?
The scourge. The great dying. Come now. You know, what is it they call it? No matter. The pestilence, yes. It abounds outside these walls, you know. So many have succumbed, and many more will continue to, until such time as a perfect cure can be developed.
Okay, so this is after I watched the entire video for the second time. I have a couple of theories of what Pestilence is supposed to be. Now, I can't go in depth about it too much due to the length of this video and the nature of this channel itself. It's more or less a dark themed reaction channel. But if you want it to go plus ultra, make sure to hit that subscribe button to make that happen. So Pestilence, from what I'm gathering and after doing a little research on this SCP, it is indeed not the bubonic plague. However, given that this SCP is presumably ancient and founded in Europe, it could be something that comes from it. It appears to be one of three things. Death, the fact that all humans have a lifespan. This leads me to then question if the SCP-49-02 have a lifespan or not. Instead of being studied, they've all been foolishly terminated immediately. This is a little contradictory simply because of the manner in which Dr. Ham died and the timing, which leads me to my next assumption. Illness. The fact that humans are fragile and susceptible to illness, whether it's fatal or not. The Plague Doctor is attempting to make a 100% disease-free society. perhaps a disease-free society under his control. He uses the words "I can" and "I'm the only one" a lot, which suggests an ulterior motive. Maybe he finally saw a type of illness arising in Dr. Ham that lay dormant for a while. And lastly, free will. The ability for humans to have free will. This one is a stretch and can be debunked in one or two ways, but he refers to all humans as a whole to have pestilence, more or less. He requires live human subjects to advance his research, emphasis on live human subjects regardless of their conditions. His reanimated patients seem to obey his commands, do they not? This adds on to my assumption that the Plague Doctor is ancient and has an ulterior motive, a mad doctor type of thing.
Fortunately, I am very close. It is my duty in life to rid the world of it, you see. The cure to end all cures.
When you say the great dying, are you talking about the bubonic plague?
I don't know what that is.
I feel as if he is lying here. I strongly believe that the Plague Doctor is lying here. I did notice that he said the King's English, and that he speaks medieval French. So he's been around during those times. He's been around during the bubonic plague. It's happened in Europe, and he's been there. So I feel as if he's lying right now. I know that he knows what the bubonic plague is. I know it.
I see. Right, well, the entities our agents encountered at the house, they were dead when you encountered them, yes? You reanimated them.
In a manner of speaking.
Okay.
You see things too simply, Doctor. Expand your horizons. Life and death. Sickness and health. These are amateur terms for amateur physicians. There is only one ailment that exists in the world of men, and that is the pestilence, and nothing else. Make no mistake, they were very ill. All of them.
You think you cured those people?
Indeed. My cure is most effective.
I still don't understand
The
what
things we
pestilence
recovered were not
is.
human.
Yeah.
Yes, well, it is not a perfect cure, but that will
Obviously.
come with time and further experimentation. I have spent a lifetime developing my methods, Dr. Ham, and will spend a lifetime more, if necessary.
Clearly he hasn't spent enough time, because if you know those SCP-49-2 that we were seeing beforehand, nah, that's not it. That is not it. This doctor is not doing something right. Or maybe he's just early in his research, but he's definitely not doing something right.
Necessary. Now, we have wasted too much time. There is work to do. I will require a laboratory of my own, one where I can continue my research unimpeded. And assistance, of course, though I can provide those on my own. In time.
Oh, I don't think our organization would be willing to...
Nonsense. We are all men of science. Fetch your coat and show me to my quarters, Doctor. Our work begins now.
Alright.
Interviewer's notes. While SCP-049 is capable of communicating in a very human way, there is a strange sense of unease that one experiences when in its presence. Make no mistake, there is something very uncanny about this entity indeed.
Alright.
Additionally, we've confiscated that pointed stick that SCP-049
Oh, why you gotta take his
waving
stick
around.
for?
Part of this was due to standard confiscation protocols for the possession of anomalies, and part because 049 really is a menace swinging it around like he does.
Why you gotta take his stick
The
his
entity
stick
was
for,
displeased
bro?
at first, but after we made some concessions in providing it with test subjects, which are admittedly more for the benefit of our own research, it warmed up to the idea. Addendum 049-2. Observation log. While in containment at Site 19, SCP-049 has spent a considerable amount of time studying and performing surgery on the various mammalian corpses it has been provided.
What's that? What's mammalian corpses? What is that? Let me go ahead and Google that really quickly. Alright. What was it? Mammalian corpses. What is that? Did I spell it right? I spelled it wrong. What is it? Not corpses. I spelled that wrong. Oh, okay. I see.
SCP-049 will routinely spend several days performing surgery, and then, regardless of whether or not the corpse becomes an instance of SCP-049-2, spending several more days documenting its findings in a thick leather journal stored within its doctor's bag. SCP-049 will often seek to share its finding with members of Foundation staff.
So he's been writing in he's been presumably writing in this journal for years on end, right? My question is, where does he find the pages to write all this stuff down? Like, doesn't he like ever run out of pages? I'm assuming this is a 120 page notebook. So surely he would have run out of space to write in this notebook a long time ago. Does he just find new notebooks to write in? Or maybe I'm just, getting into the little details a little too much. Maybe that's just me. Again.
The following is a log of several occasions during which SCP-049 was observed operating on a mammalian corpse.
Right, so monkeys and tigers and stuff like that.
Observational log 049 Oscar Lima 1 summary. Subject: SCP-049.
Basically what I was saying before with the SCP and -02 and him not doing a good job. If he's gonna cure people and they come out looking like this, then I hope I never step foot or be within the presence of SCP-49, because I'm not trying to, I would want to be cured. Sure, you can come and cure me, but if I'm gonna come out looking like this and my brain doesn't even work, what's the point? What's the point? It's not even a cure, it's just like murder, basically. Like, don't touch me, leave me alone. I don't want to see him, don't cure me. What is this? What? No, what the
Preface. A test subject, D85123, was introduced into SCP-049's containment cell.
Looking all normal and stuff, right? I bet you this guy looked human before he met him. And then this is what comes of him after. Can you see now? What is this? What is this?
The entity expressed sincere gratitude towards all members of the containment and research staff. Observation notes. SCP-049 began by asking D85123 several standard medical questions as it began removing tools from its bag. Shortly after finishing its preparations, SCP-049 quickly closed the distance between the two, killing the subject with a touch to its throat.
One tap.
Afterwards, SCP-049 made a number of considerable alterations to the basic structure of the subject's corpse, often introducing fluids from within its bag into the subject by way of a hand-powered pump and copper tubing.
I'm not understanding why he needs to do all of that. Like, look at the type of surgery that's going on with this. Look, are you guys seeing what? I can't even speak right now. Like, all of that, do you really need to do all of that? You broke his rib cage, like you took this whole entire part is just missing, and then you got the whole situation with his mouth open like that, and then his eyes, and then like other. Why does he really? Is that really necessary? Is that really necessary? I don't think it is.
The resulting 049-2 instance became animated, flailing and grasping at the walls of the chamber with a number of manufactured limbs while moaning out of an oblong orifice now present in its sternum. During this time, SCP-049 was observed taking notes of the instance in its journal and remarking to the watching research staff about the efficiency of its cure. Security personnel entered the chamber to move SCP-049 back to containment and were attacked by the instance. The security team dispatched the 049-2 instance, and SCP-049 returned to containment with no resistance, stating that it was pleased with the results.
Okay.
Observational log 049 Oscar Lima 2.
Whatever.
Subject: SCP-049.
Look.
Preface: SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased goat.
This is not curing. This is just reorganizing. Is he missing his eye? Like, this is just... You can't send people out looking like this. I don't think the Plague Doctor understands that.
SCP-049 expressed gratitude at the provision. Observational notes. SCP-049 operated on the goat corpse for several days, eventually resulting in an instance of SCP-049-2.
Of course.
SCP-049 expressed pleasure in this outcome, though admitted, the disease was still in its nascent stage, my veterinarian practice is rudimentary, but the patient responded well to the procedure.
Alright.
Observational log 049 Oscar Lima 3 summary. Subject SCP-049 Preface.
What is this?
SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased orangutan.
Orangutan.
SCP-049 expressed noted gratitude at the provision due to the similarities between the orangutan and common human physiology. Observation notes. SCP-049 spent several days operating on the orangutan, reanimating it several times. However, SCP-049 appeared to be discontent with the results it experienced, returning to the creature 3 times after its initial reanimation for additional work.
Alright.
After it was unable to reanimate the corpse a 5th time, SCP-049 turned the corpse over to Foundation staff for incineration, stating, "I have learned so much from this, though I fear my early optimism was misplaced. I haven't yet come across such a stumbling block on my road to the cure.
Okay.
More subjects like this would do a great deal in advancing my research." Observational Log 049 Oscar Lima 7 Full. Subject SCP-049 Preface. SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased bovine. SCP-049 expressed mild annoyance at the provision, though accepted it nonetheless.
Alright.
Observational notes. SCP-049 spent several days operating on the bovine corpse, breaking only to dine on a requested dinner of thin crackers, salted pork, and hard cheese.
So he gets hungry,
Beginning first by embalming the corpse, SCP-049 was observed producing a number of long syringes from its bag, each containing a different dark viscous fluid.
Ooh, what's that?
SCP-049 described these fluids as essences of the humours, and elaborated by saying the pestilence may bring about a systemic imbalance. In such a case, before true healing can begin, one must find the humours in balance, or the body will reject the cure.
What's essence of the humours? Let me go ahead and take a look at that really quickly as well. Alright, so we're talking about let me see how that's spelled. Essence of humours, there it is. Alright, what do 4 humours represent? According to humoralism. Okay, let me do something really quickly. Define humours. Alright, that's comply with the quality of being amused. I don't think that's it. A mood or state. I think it's this one. The comply of wishes in order to keep. Okay, and then essence of humors. According to 4 body fluids. Yellow bile, black bile, film. Determined by person imbalance. Oh, okay. I think this is what he's talking about. Person's imbalance and the person's temperament and imbalance led to certain sicknesses dependent upon which humors were in excess or deficit. The humors were connected. Okay, so I have an understanding of what he's talking about here.
Over the next few days, SCP-049 spent a considerable amount of time adjusting the organs of the bovine corpse with a number of large metal instruments. After 8 days, SCP-049 produced a lightning rod, which Dr. Ham exchanged for an electric cattle prod attached to an extension cord, and struck the corpse in several locations. This action seemingly had the effect of reanimating the bovine, which once again became ambulatory, despite the inversion of the head and reorientation of its limbs.
I don't know why he feels the need to do that, but
Follow-up interview.
We've watched you work for several weeks now, and honestly, I'm not sure I understand what you're doing. Could you describe your process in detail?
Oh, goodness no. The process is most intensive. As I said to your assistant, the best instruction you will find about my methods are here in my journals.
Can you give them the
I've kept
journals?
exhaustive records of my work there.
I see. Well, my concern, Doctor, is that we still don't understand what you're seeking to cure, or how it manifests, or how turning these creatures into quasi-living, mindless drones helps in that effort.
Same.
You do not understand the pestilence?
I don't.
Even after all this time?
I don't.
Doctor, it is an unspeakable horror. One that has shown its true face many times before, and will again. I find myself blessed with the wisdom and good senses needed to root it out and destroy it. But many, like yourself, cannot. It is a cruel judgment, I fear, to be at the mercy of a disease you cannot fully comprehend.
that still doesn't answer my question. How's your cure any kind of cure at all?
It is a cure.
Oh.
You may laugh at my efforts if you please, but do not besmirch the good name of scientific progress that has developed this great mercy. What you short-sightedly see here is a life better than any this creature could have hoped for. Stricken as it was with the pestilence, this creature is now clean, unable to spread the pestilence, and free from the terror it would have experienced otherwise.
It's dead. Or it's a walking vegetable. If that's what you mean by clean, then sure.
This is hardly a creature at all, Doctor. It's not even...
Do not jape with me,
Oop.
sir.
Now he's
You
angry.
and your colleagues are like so many others, unable to look past minor setbacks to see the salvation taking place before your very eyes.
Sure.
Do you wait to remove rotten timbers until the whole collapses on top of you? No. You find them and you pull them out and replace them with those untouched by rot. And most of all, you do not simply mock the structure because it now looks different to you. It is strong. It is free of disease.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to agitate you. I'm just trying to understand.
Yes. Well, do mind your words in the future, Doctor. I am a professional, but even professionals may feel the bite of pride in dealing with criticism of their masterpiece. I will forgive this as an act of good faith between colleagues.
It's not the way to go. It's just not the way to go. There's different ways to go about it. This is not the way to go. If he were to leave the patients the way he found them to begin with, then that would be completely fine. But he's leaving all of his patients reorganized, and some pieces are missing, some limbs are missing, some body parts are just left wide open, rib cages are broken, like you saw with that one guy. I don't think this doctor understands that he can't send his patients out on the streets like that. It's not going to work. It's not the way to go.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that will be all. Another test subject on the usual schedule. You know my preference of subjects with more human anatomies.
He needs to improve
Attending
drastically.
researchers notes. SCP-049 does seem to genuinely want to help other humans, though it has not yet been able to provide a concrete example of what exactly it is trying to save us all from. I have watched it now over several weeks, and while the outcomes do not seem to ever change, SCP-049 continues to claim that it is growing closer to its perfect cure. I think the entity may be more aware of the reality of these outcomes than it would like us to think. Addendum 049-3, 16th of April 2017 incident. Starting shortly after SCP-049's initial containment, Dr. Ham conducted a number of interviews with the subject regarding its anomalous properties, and over time began to note its displeasure with its subjects and the SCP-049-2 instances.
Okay.
This continued for a period of several months, during which SCP-049 never exhibited any aggressive behaviours.
Oh.
On April the 16th, 2017, as Dr. Ham was entering SCP-049's test chamber to conduct another routine interview, the entity began to grow anxious and asked Dr. Ham if he was feeling well. Following protocol, Dr. Ham reminded SCP-049 that the interview was required, and after which the entity became hostile and attacked Dr. Ham, killing him.
No!
Due to a lapse in security protocol, and because Dr. Ham did not activate the in-chamber emergency system,
Dr.
Ham's
Ham!
corpse was not discovered until 3 hours later, by which point SCP-049 had converted it into an instance of SCP-049.
Are we recording in here?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. Let me just put that up there.
That was my brother, sorry about that.
9-2. In the aftermath of this incident, SCP-049 was interviewed by Dr. Sherman. Interviewer Dr. Sherman, Site 42. Interviewee SCP-049.
I need you to explain yourself.
No response.
SCP-049. You are being directed to explain your actions. and I will remind you that failure to cooperate will result in further restrictions during your containment.
My actions do not need to be explained.
I feel
You
as if
killed
they do.
Raymond Ham, and then butchered him until he...
Not dead. No, not dead. He is cured.
He's dead.
Cured? Cured of what?
The pestilence.
No, he's just dead. Sorry, try again. He's dead. He's dead as hell. Dead as
Sir, I had thought you, at least, would realize what luck it is. I detected it before.
What pestilence? You keep going on and on about this pestilence, but you have not once been able to properly identify this disease. What could you have possibly seen in him today that you had not seen so many times before? That it would be worth his life?
That's not my issue. My whole, like, I believe this doctor's got something going on, right? And he wants to do something, you know, he wants to go out and cure people, sure. My biggest issue with this method is that he's butchering them and reorganizing them in horrific ways in which they can't be sent out on the street like that. That is my biggest issue. If he could find a way to bring them back to life in the way in which he saw them before, like looking all normal and stuff, and their brain actually works, then he's doing a wonderful job. But that is not exactly what he's doing here. He's doing something completely different. I don't agree with his methods. I may or may not agree with his ideals, whatever they are. He hasn't done a good job in explaining what his ideals are, but I believe he's maybe doing something good. I'm just not a big fan of his methods. His way in going about curing these people.
The pestilence presents and progresses in unforeseeable fashion.
Sure.
And has a queer way of creeping into the unprepared. And call it what you want, Doctor. It was a mercy I did to him. He is cured.
He's dead as hell.
He is a vegetable.
I would not expect you to understand. You and your ilk have proven time and time again not to be men of science, but men of emotion. You cannot appreciate the horrors I have seen. Those many millions who have succumbed to the pestilence and been changed.
Your cure cost Ray his life.
No, good sir, I have saved it. You would allow this world to slip back into the despair of disease and death, ignoring that I have created a miracle. And
what disease? What pestilence? He was a healthy man. He was a good doctor.
I'm offering it freely to the afflicted. You are not worth this argument, sir. You are short-sighted and foolish.
Very
Dr.
well.
Ham was sick, and I cured him. I am the only one who can do this.
Well, we gotta take a look at what he means by cure here, because it's like, does he mean under his control? Because they don't have a working brain. They are what Dr. Sherman said. They're a vegetable. So what exactly is he curing here? They can't do things on their own. They need to be instructed by someone, and that person seems to be the Plague Doctor. So by cure, does he mean turn them into something that he could control like puppets? Is that what we're talking about here?
My work must continue. There is still so much to learn, so much
I've had
to
enough
do,
of this.
and others
Consider your allowances
can be
revoked.
saved. Even you.
Welcome to containment, 049.
Might be saved.
We're done here.
I can save them all. I can cast down this plague once and for all. I can do this. Only me. I saved him. Dr. Ham. I cured him.
He's a mad doctor.
He was sick.
A mad
He
scientist.
was sick. I know he was. And you are all sick, but I can save you. I can save all of you because I am the cure.
Addendum 0494, Post-Incident Report Interview. The following interview is an excerpt from the 16th of April 2017 049 Incident Report. The interview was conducted by Dr. Elijah Itkin and took place 3 weeks after the start of the initial investigation. Interviewer Dr. Elijah Itkin, interviewee SCP-049.
SCP-049, we are conducting this interview to close out our investigation of your actions taken on April 16th that resulted in the death of a staff member. Do you have any comments to make? Only that I look forward to the day when you will allow me to resume my work. I have spent the last few weeks compiling my notes and constructing a new theory for how the pestilence was able to infect someone in such an insidious manner that I nearly couldn't detect it.
Okay.
Have you experienced any remorse for your actions? For the death of Dr. Ham? Ah, yes. Well, the death of a colleague is always regrettable. But in the face of the pestilence, we must be swift, Doctor, and act without hesitation.
This definitely does not make it easier to conclude what the pestilence is. I don't want to... this contradicts a lot of what I'm thinking right now. The pestilence could come out of nowhere at any time. That adds on to a lot of things. Well, that changes a lot of things, actually. So... with this new information, it makes it that much more difficult to actually determine what the pestilence is. I had a couple of theories. I need to start... those theories are kind of being debunked right now, is what I'm trying to say.
Dr. Sherman noted in his report that you seemed to be mournful during your initial interview. Mourn? Perhaps. I had not thought that. It is lamentable that a fellow doctor became infected, but the work continues. Regrettable as it was, Dr. Ham's death provided important insight. Living human subjects are the only way to proceed forward, I am decided. My cure is of little use on dead flesh, and I have gleaned all I can from your generous supply of corpses. My desires turn towards tending to those still living who suffer from the disease. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed. Oh, Doctor.
Okay.
I wouldn't be so sure.
All right, and that's basically it. That's all that we have for this SCP. Quite interesting. The Plague Doctor has to be one of my most favorite. The Plague Doctor, SCP-49, has to be my most favorite SCP in terms of character design. I'm not gonna lie, this guy has a lot of drip going on right now. I do like what I'm seeing, but I'm not a big fan of his methods of curing people. I don't like it. If he could just find a way to bring people back in the way in which he found them at first, then I would have no problems. But he's not doing that. He's dismembering them. He's reorganizing a bunch of stuff that most likely doesn't need to be organized. And yeah, no, that's just not it. It's not it for me. It's not it. Alright, so that's going to be it for today's video. If you do hear any noise in the background, I apologize for that. That's my brother. But that's going to be it for today's video. We're going to wrap it up there. SCP-49 or the Plague Doctor is very interesting. Interesting in the sense that a lot of theories could stem from this SCP in terms of figuring out what the pestilence is. I know I've really thought hard about what the pestilence might be, and I still haven't came to a conclusion. So there's that. And I also do enjoy the character design of SCP-49. I find it to be really, really cool. Man's got a lot of drip, yes? Again, for my newcomers or new people stumbling upon this video, if you did enjoy the content and you made it this far, definitely subscribe and hit that like button. It'll be much appreciated. And I hope you guys stick around for the other SCP videos that I have to offer in the future, yes? With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the video here, and I will see you guys next time with a brand new video.